I'm coming from France.
Oh, France.
From Bordeaux, France. So, first of all, really
Formidable.
thank you. Yes.
Formidable. Bienvenue.
Really, I'm really grateful that you guys are doing this, and Jon, thank you so much. My question is, do you think, I'm somebody who's working on mindfulness and bringing it to the finance sector with all the abuses and all the excesses that we've witnessed in the financial field for since before even the financial crisis 2008. My question is this: do you think that this pandemic, as it's happening right now, with all the potential for transformation, like you mentioned before about the systems, do you think that we are on our way to really see a major shift in our society? Or are we just going to go back to the same mental habits that we had before, and systems in place are going to, again, survive, and the same types of behaviors are going to be manifesting again? I mean, I'm really hopeful that this will be a great signal for a big change, but I'm a little bit doubtful right now. So can you please speak about it?
Thank you so much for articulating this question the way you did, and for actually being in the financial sector, where very often people don't even think that way at all. So this is one of the reasons that I mentioned the very ancient Chinese history, that in a way, I'd like to think that this would be a turning point and that we will really wake up as a species. And I write about this a lot, and I talk about this even long before the pandemic, as a global warming itself would be a wake-up call to us because of the climate change that it's inducing in very, very short order. And of course, in France, where you are, there's Piketty and the whole analysis of wealth disparity in capital and in capitalism. And while capitalism has brought an enormous amount of good, it is also fundamentally driven by greed and always wanting to maximize profits. And those are often maximized at the extent of other people. So the question is, could we have like a mindful way to actually drive economic activity so that everybody got the blood supply that they need to at least minimally live life with dignity, and nurture our potential creativity, so that every single person, not just on this Zoom call or or on YouTube together, which is thousands, but every single person on the planet could find their way through to contributing to the global well-being in art, in music, in every conceivable way. We're all very unique. And part of it in terms of business and being able to develop things that would be of real value and then sold for prices that people can afford, so that we don't try to maximize our well-being at the expense of everybody else. So income inequality and wealth inequality right now, as well as social justice issues, I don't want to just say, well, yes, this pandemic could just change all of that and we'll all just magically wake up and it'll be a kumbaya moment and kind of utopia from here on. That would be totally naive. The human mind is the way the human mind is. And from the Buddha's time on, and long before the Buddha, the cardinal, sort of pointing out was that we're driven by greed, hatred, and delusion. And unless we're able to actually recognize that, and that the suffering that stems from that, we will not be able to liberate ourselves from our own human tendencies. So it's too cheap to blame it on this president or that prime minister or this whatever. All of us have, in some sense, to wake up in the ways that that you're suggesting. And I am very optimistic that we are capable of doing it, but at the same time, I don't want to be naive about this because this is going to require mindfulness, not just on the part of like whoever's tuning into this call and the thousands of other calls where we're meditating online, but all the people who are not tuning in and would never tune in because they're just in a different universe. And so it really requires all of humanity to wake up. And I think we're capable of doing it, but it needs all of us to do what we can. And I bow to you for being part of the financial industry, because I know a whole bunch of people who are doing that within the finance industry. It's certainly a very steep mountain to climb, but you don't get to the top unless you start out at the bottom. And just to say, because I'm using that analogy, Mount Analog was written, it's a French novel, very, very small novel, short novel. And if you haven't read it, you should. Everybody should read Mount Analog. It not even ever was finished, but but it's really worth reading as a metaphor or a kind of what would you call it? A kind of well, let's just say a metaphor for the inner mountain that we need to befriend and learn how to inhabit and achieve the view from the summit. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jon. And namaste, everybody.
Namaste.